Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jale. This is just a very brief update. I wanted to give some insight into the aftermath of the 13th or 14th, depending on where you are in the world, full harvest Pisces moon. Now, for me personally, I had some interesting symptoms. I had extreme purging of my sacral chakra and I was extremely nauseous, was very drained. Usually I'm extremely awake for full moons. I was born on a full moon. I'm also a water moon, so usually I'm at my peak of energy almost, let's say, when full moons hit. This was very different. Now what I've done is I've tried to look into this a little bit, because I've also noticed I've got a few extra abilities that I can't quite remember if I could do before this. So I've traced it a little bit to sort of figure out what exactly is going on. And I feel like we've had a bit of a timeline close here. I feel like you guys maybe be kind of worthwhile looking back to the last 48 hours before the full moon on the Friday, or the 13th or 14th, depending on where you are. What promises, what did you put out into the universe? Did you say anything? Did you set any intentions? And when I say set any intentions, you know, this would have been a clear effort to do something, and almost like this has to be a heartfelt intention. So it could be that you've really decided and said that you're gonna maybe start a new course, or you know, you're going to reconnect with an old friend or something. It's the way you would have formulated it in your mind, I feel, is from what the guides are saying, but also the way potentially you may have spoken about it to other people, that I feel is going to be really relevant. Whatever's happened here, it feels like, based on those intentions that have been set, it's closed out other timelines. The way I'm kind of figuring this out is I've started to, I mean, I could remote view before, but I'm starting to hear certain timelines and certain conversations in timelines, pinpointing certain points in a conversation or an event, and I'm hearing what's going on. And when I'm sort of tuning into that energy, I hit a brick wall. And it's almost from that sort of instance, it's telling me that based on what's been projected outwards, that has closed something that is now starting on a new timeline. Now, this involves a lot of karma and past lives. So if that promise has potentially been something that was unresolved in a past life, it may be that you're going to feel, certainly over the next couple of weeks, months, up until 2020, that you're, especially with the Saturn going direct on the 18th, your energy is going to be freed up. There's going to be a lot more of a clearer view of things and a clearer path. From what the guides are saying, it's something very, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, obviously with the timeline that we're on, and bearing in mind for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, obviously we don't have time here in the three-dimensional physical reality. We have, let's say, a pattern. That's probably the easiest way to sort of explain how a set of events happens. There's usually, when we read for people, or I say when I read for people, I view a current situation based on a certain timeline and the most likely outcome from that, but I can also usually view other timelines around it. For me, it feels like it's been a very limited, it's almost like a pinpoint in reality has been pushed through, and what's coming out the other end is only what is needing to come out, and only what has been set, and only what you are bringing forward. So if you're looking to change any lifestyle, dietary things, if you're looking to start, I don't know, a new kind of routine, or if you've got any habits that you're wanting to sort of remove or shed, it's like people are shedding skin on layers at the moment. And as I say, when I'm kind of tuning into that timeline or that specific event and what was spoken, I'm hitting a brick wall. And for me, when that happens, it's very, very kind of carved. It's very much, the outcome isn't there for me to look at, because the outcome already is. The outcome is already in existence. It's already happened. And because upstairs in the 5 dimension, 6, all the way up to the sort of 12th dimension, every kind of timeline is coinciding at the same time. That's why I'm hitting a wall. So I feel like even readers are going to have a real different way of reading for things at the moment. It's like, the only way I can describe it is, it's interesting because my guides gave me this analogy a few months ago and I didn't understand it until now, and it's interesting that's just popped in my head. I was channeling some information and I kept seeing rainbows everywhere. I was seeing them driving outside. I was literally looking around and I could see a rainbow. And I'm sort of sat there thinking, is it raining? Like, has it rained? And of course, you know, it's only me that can see this. Or if I'm with someone that has ability and can see, that they'll see it, you know, also. And I asked, because obviously usually when you're getting a lot of these signs, I dug a little bit deeper. And the guides mentioned about how if you get a clear quartz crystal and you put it in a certain place, obviously light refracts, doesn't it, through certain objects, and that's how we see different colours. That's how our reality is formed. But if you place a crystal in a certain path of light, it retracts and it kind of spreads a spectrum of colours out from the other side. So it deflects another energy, another light, and it spreads a certain opacity, a certain spectrum of hues based on where that light hits and at what angle. And that creates the outcome, okay? And the best way I can describe it is if you look at the pyramids in Egypt, where you've got that huge, you know, obviously that huge kind of, pyramid shape, obviously. My belief is, obviously, you know, I'm not a historian and I can't sit and prove this, but my belief is that this was an energy portal almost. Obviously, the Egyptians were very good at using astrology, astronomy, to measure time, to measure certain prophecies, let's say. And I believe that restriction of certain planets and timings of things would create an outcome, would allow them to see an outcome in order to see their path. And I believe this full harvest moon in Pisces on the 13th or 14th was effectively utilising the light from Lilith, the darker shadow aspects of the feminine, potentially even from the Egyptian ages, potentially even further back from that as a humanity, as a kind of collective consciousness, we are shedding in order to really kind of cleanse and purge into a more purer form of light. And very much like the you know, the crystal prism, or you know, the clear quartz pyramid type, that if you were to place next to a light at a certain point where the light hits, it would refract and obviously would create a spectrum of colours bouncing off it at a certain angle. I believe that's what the moon has done. Now, I can't prove that. I can't prove any of this. It's just based on what the symptoms I've had, because leading up to it, I had a lot of past life recall. Like, I was shedding layers. I was shedding a lot of layers, and I was getting lots of past life recall. Not even from just Egyptian times. For some unknown reason, I went right back to the first incarnation, and then also to other points within my soul's journey, like a huge jigsaw puzzle. Now, the way the light is refracting through this crystal prism and this different spectrum of hue colours is creating a new potential timeline, or multiple new potential timelines. So anything that has been solidly created or manifested or talked into, you know, existence, as per what I mentioned before, where you're talking about a certain situation that you're bringing forward, and as I say, that energy feels solid. It's like when you tune into it, there's a wall there. It's almost like it's already manifested, because we are on multi, you know, dimensional timelines here. You know, we are. I feel like we've kind of really transitioned into I mean, I don't want to say 4D, but I mean, have we? Because I just feel like everything's different. I don't know. I'm just viewing everything differently. Now, obviously, you guys, I can only relate, this to my experiences and what I'm being told. So it'd be very interesting to see what you guys make of it. But we're in for a massive, massive upgrade. We're talking DNA activations here that have been blocked potentially, that maybe, well, even now when we're talking them into existence, are being released into that into that light, in order to reflect and retract into that kind of the rays and the directional energy and the multifaceted layers of vibration that it's created. But yeah, we are really going for a shift here. So I feel like you're going to be, if you're not on a spiritual journey, it could be that you're starting to really pick up on one, or you're starting to accelerate in your development. I just feel like we are going to really see a lot of that, a lot of purging. Going back to the distorted feminine with Lilith, I put out the video for the new what was it, the new black moon, and I feel like the Lilith has really, she was shining that night. Now this, again, because it takes a while for it to come down to the sort of physical reality we are in, it may well be that people are not seeing the effects of that. For someone that is extremely sensitive to absolutely everything, to the point where I've had to change my diet drastically, I've had to really honour my journey, because if I don't, I suffer tremendously. I won't go too much into detail, but needless to say, for the last 3 years, I've had extreme symptoms where if I do not treat my body with the utmost respect, I get immediate effects of that, to the point where I'm incapacitated, which I'm not going to sit here and rattle on too much about that, because that's my own journey and everyone's different. And part of that was my karma to understand, and also to understand healing, a sort of a high level of healing, so I could heal myself but also help others. But we're talking about generally here, and the sort of distorted feminine Lilith, the old ways from the Egyptian timelines, the old methodology, that old, almost like the old hierarchy and traditional feminine, and the potential kind of darker sides of that we've brought into the now, that are really needing to be phased out. And this is not to say, I can already feel people are going to start absolutely ripping this to shreds, but that's fine. You have your, more than enough entitlement to your own opinion. I can only speak for my own reality. I can only speak from my own guides, and my guides are assigned to me for a very, very individualistic reason, as per why your guides would have been assigned to you, and why your guardians, and why your star families, and why your team is around you at this time. We are very, very closely protected. We are being very closely monitored. This is a very, very big time for change in so many different ways here, that I just had to come on and kind of give some insight, because I know I said that in October I was going to be doing a video about part 3, but I kind of feel like this almost has to go in now, otherwise it may not be as acknowledged or recognised, because there is more to come. And if I don't keep up, I feel like it's going to be very hard for people to sort of understand and piece everything together. There's a very specific, very fluid and very kind of poetic way they've done this. There is absolutely no coincidences as to anything that happens on Earth at all. Everything is exactly as it should be. Now, obviously, you could be sat here listening to this going, how can you say that? I'm being tormented. I'm having an absolutely horrific time. I can well believe that. If that is you and you are relating to what I've just said there, my heart goes out to you. You are never alone. Please understand, your spirit team at this time are very closely protecting you and working with you. If you feel that it's a severe issue, then please obviously seek help. But, you know, if it's a medical issue, please obviously get advice from your GP or doctor. However, if you feel like this is a spiritual awakening, ascension symptom, DNA activation, I would urge you to diarise things. I'd urge you to be writing notes, because things are going to be moving and spinning up very quickly here. And I feel like I can already see it. I've already known and seen things in the last 3 years where I can't physically write in my journal quick enough to monitor and log everything, which is why I've taken to a lot of the YouTube videos, because I need a record of this. I'm not going to be able to remember all this, you know. I'm still in a physical body. I don't have, you know, I'm a soul that's living in a physical existence. I'm not, you know, Superwoman. So let's be realistic there. And nor is anyone. We're all, you know, we're only human at the end of the day. We are, none of us are perfect. So this is to log this event, this acknowledgement, this beacon, let's say, this pinpoint in the map, so that when we do get to another point in October, when I do update you, hopefully it'll be a video with my face in it. The only reason I'm doing this now is because it is a Sunday evening. This is supposed to be my purging and cleansing day, which I do every week in order to keep up with my my routine to help everyone. Because if I'm not up to date, then I'm not going to be able to help anyone else. And I thought, right, if I don't do this, this is not going to get logged, and I feel like I need to update people. So let's keep everyone in the loop. As always, trust your instincts at this time. The only person that can really ever guide you is yourself, okay? This is not, you know, Maureen from next door. This is not Betty up the road. And sorry to be, you know, pedantic there, but you'll have to excuse me. We've got Chiron conjunct Moon at the moment, and in the sign of Aries, and unfortunately my progressed Moon is in Aries, so I can be a little bit too direct sometimes. Please don't take that with any ill intent or anything like that. It is just a sort of a bit of a light-hearted approach to a bit of a intense energy that potentially people are going through. This is not to say that anyone around you is not giving good advice. I'm sure a lot of people do have your, you know, your best interest, but what I'm saying is that in this time it is extremely important to grasp your own individual path, okay? The only person that can truly understand that is you. The only person that can truly see these things from you, you know, from your stance is you. You know, whenever we get readings, whenever we're linking in with the guides and even our higher selves, everything is given a different perspective based on the viewpoint or stance that it is from, okay? The only person that, or the only entirety of one picture is based on a different level or different levels of information. It's definitely worthwhile filtering what does help you information wise and what doesn't. Like, you might be listening to this now going, I've absolutely no idea what she's talking about, not following it, don't want to follow it, and that's fine. It just means that, you know, we're on different paths, and that's not I'm better than you, or, you know, it's nothing to do with that. It just means that we all have our own individual journeys, and we're just at the pace that we are needing to go, okay, at the exact time, at the exact steps that we are needing to take it. If it doesn't resonate with you, maybe in a few months it will, I don't know. You know, everyone is different here. That's the beauty of why we are here, you know. But it's to say that, you know, filter out the information, just fact check. Okay, if you're getting information through from people, including myself, fact check it. You know, don't sort of believe everything people are telling you. Tune into your own inner guidance, your own inner compass, and check to see if it resonates. If it does, perfect. Let's build a picture together, because, you know, we could all put, you know, different pieces of the puzzle together and probably learn something. You know, I don't just do this because I'm, you know, inhuman and I know everything. I do this to learn also. You know, I'm under no illusion here that whenever I do anything, there is always an experience that I can gain from it, whether I'm reading for a client or, you know, I'm walking down the road or I'm suffering a loss, or there's always something that can be gained. And I don't want to waste anything during this time. I don't want to waste a thought. I don't want to waste an idea. I don't want to waste anything, because we are in, and I'm sorry to be all kind of out there, but we are in such, like, I'm actually so excited. And I'm sat here going, why is no one else excited? Can no one else see what's going on here? Like, we're at such a crucial time in terms of ascension for the planet. That this is not just, and I know I'm getting all hippie now, but we are totally shifting as a collective. This is not just one or two people. This is like, my guides always talk about a 0 point, okay, and that's usually when in reference to a point in time where there is a majority of energy that, let's just say, outweighs a minority of energy. Now, obviously, in this universe, everything has a dualistic side to it. There is no light without dark. There is no up without down. There is no in with, do you know what I'm trying to say? Every part of this is extraordinarily synchronistic, okay? So it's extremely important to understand that the Earth is undergoing a shift, and the majority of people that are awaking now are allowing a massive influx of energy to be on this planet, which is then triggering other people's awakenings, which is then triggering truth, which is then triggering more insight. It's essentially like a game of tennis, it's like, it's a domino effect in a very positive way, where the planet's vibration is raising, and the more it does that, the more we're, especially starseed, especially if you resonate with the terminology of starseed, this is going to resonate with you, I feel. If it doesn't, that's fine. It's not, again, it may or may not. Maybe you'll listen to this in a few months and think, actually, yeah, it does now. Or maybe you've had this 8 months ago and thought, well, Jale, you're a bit slow here. And that's fine. It's all, everything is happening as it should. But we are in an extremely positive, exciting time where I don't want to look back in 2020 and be like, oh, what happened on that date and Sunday when I was going to do that, that make a note of that and I didn't do it. No, I'm gonna log it all, because I've done this 3 years ago. I wrote so many notes, and even now I look back at the notes and think, oh no, I should have doubled up on notes. And of course my handwriting's horrific. So for me, a lot of this, recording my voice, is a lot quicker. And anyone that actually knows me and that has received a text message from me, my brain works very quickly, unfortunately, or fortunately, and my hands can't keep up sometimes. So I have to record things now because it's just quicker. There's only one of me at the moment, so if I can, when I start cloning myself, which maybe I will or maybe I won't, I don't know. I'm joking. That's a joke, by the way. So we're in a really, really positive time. Manifestation will become very easy at this time because of it. Don't forget that prism of light. It's enhanced. There's a heightened, enhanced energy. We are being enhanced and heightened in multifaceted ways within our DNA, within our bodies, within our, our souls, within our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, our nomadic selves, our highest, every part of this is shifting. So, guys, sorry to go really deep, but I feel like I want to take everything in, and I want to give people an opportunity, if they choose to do so, to also take everything in, because we only live once in this lifetime and in this identity, and I feel like we need to make it count. And I certainly have not gone through the years of my life to sort of fall short and be like, well, I did up till this point, but I'll slack a little bit. I feel like this is now the time where we come into a certain part of ourselves that maybe is being unlocked. So, again, if you have issues or self-esteem issues or confidence issues or anything that you feel you are not able to fully divulge, show, acknowledge your true self, I feel like this is the time where you're going to really want to do that, or you're going to feel that you can do that. So again, for me, that's brilliant. I want to see people come into their power. I want that, without going into the sort of we're not talking about world dominance here or anything, you know, narcissistic or silly. We're talking about empowerment of the self that was our birthright. It's something that we came here to do. And again, you may listen to this and think, well, I don't feel like that's me. And again, everyone's different. Everyone's here for a different reason. But I feel like if you're listening to this and it resonates, you'll understand what I'm saying. So, guys, at 25 minutes and me rattling on as usual, thank you so much for listening. I would say thank you for watching, but, you know, it's a darkened screen. So, guys, have an amazing Sunday, and I can't wait to see what the 18th and after, when this Saturn goes direct, what happens with that. I feel like we'll have a little bit of an ease of energy. I feel like we'll be let off a little bit, but don't forget, just because we're being eased into the energy doesn't mean to say that we back off. If we've got a goal, this is the time to set it and continue pushing that forward. If we've got an intention, this is the time. Don't forget, 2 days before the full moon, okay, and 2 days after, we're still in that energy, guys. So keep thoughts very clear. If you have usually a pattern of behavior that maybe your thoughts are not as high vibrational or not as uplifting or positive, try and look at mindfulness, look at correcting that, because we are our thoughts at the end of the day. What we think, we create. And on that note, guys, take care. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye.